would like to share with you guys a conversation that I had with a coach from England that works in Bangladesh, and I'm talking about Coach Ray Power. On top of that, he's a technical director, best-selling coach author, coach developer, and a UEFA A license. So this is soccer. Provides you opportunities to meet, to know, to work with people from all over the world. So please have a seat and enjoy our great conversation. All right? See you. Thank you. Bye bye. So, what time is there?
It's 7 p.m.
Oh, 7. So, yeah. Good evening, right?
Yeah. So what
Yeah.
are you, about 11 a.m.?
I'm here 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Okay, well, different
Yeah.
ends of the day completely.
Sure, yeah.
Is
So,
that
thank
AI?
you.
Is that an,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
is that an AI background or is that your
No, it's
apartment or?
AI.
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah. It's
very fun.
beautiful,
Looks
right?
very good. Yeah, it looks
Yeah,
good.
when I
Looks
saw
really
that
good.
first time, I said, wow, so beautiful. I'm gonna use this. Yeah,
Very good.
yeah. All right. So thank you, sir. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for the opportunity. I had an idea to talk with people all over the world. Unfortunately, some countries I want to go, I want to visit, I want to meet people. I didn't have the opportunity yet. I want to go to Africa. I want to go to Asia. I want to go to, India, Bangladesh. So all these areas to see a little bit about soccer, football.
Mm.
And I think it's a multi-sport, people from all over the world with different cultures. When I went to England, when I went to Ireland, first time I was like, wow, it's so interesting how it's different from Brazil. And it is. It's the culture, right? I had a professor. He used to say, "We are not different. We are diverse based on culture." So I believe him. So thank you for share your thoughts, your experience, your opinion.
Mm.
And so I would like to start with you, sir, please. I saw your bio, your small bio. A very experienced technical director right now, a coach developer, best-selling coach author. If you don't mind, I would like to have your book here to to leave in the description below. People can see your book, all these things.
Yeah.
And I would like to ask you first of all if you can tell a little bit about you, your experience, as soccer coach, as technical director, as an author. So how did you start your journey? A little bit for us.
Yeah, it feels every time somebody asks me that on a podcast, it feels like I'm starting. The story is getting longer and longer as you get older.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, because as you know, in football, I think for most people, um, it's a career full of short-term bursts, I would say. So you might only be at clubs for a couple of years, and lifelong contracts aren't really a part of football. Um, so I won't kind of go through the whole sort of step by step, but I started working as a paid, let's call it a paid football coach, in 2007, so 18 years ago, and kind of along from there, worked my way through the game. I've been 99% of my career is based with youth football, youth development, and coach development. That's my space. Obviously, I feel like I've got whatever the game knowledge or whatever for the first team professional games, but it's not where I sort of earned my crust, if you know what I mean. So as I was working in the youth space, which I think most people start off, um, I wanted to. I wasn't a professional player, so I wanted to have something that would separate me from the other um, UEFA A licensed coach in the room. Okay, and hence why in 2014 my first book, Making the Ball Roll, was published. And Making the Ball Roll did exactly what I intended for it to do. It gave me a profile um, and a bit of validation that, along with my qualifications, that would kind of help me travel the world, I guess, and
Yeah.
help me meet people and do that. So, um, yeah, it took me, a couple of different countries in Europe. My family's based in the UK. I was born in Ireland, where I had a spell, but then East Africa and Southeast Asia are the kind of the different ones on the journey. But then I work online with, I think I think my program has about 40 coaches of 40 different, no, 100 coaches of 40 something different nationalities.
Wow.
Which is cool, which is really cool. And that's down to the book and, being active, I guess,
Yeah.
on socials and things like that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So thank you for sharing. Yeah. So now you are in Bangladesh, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So is a like I didn't know much about Bangladesh. Like I was like, wow, how is the culture there? What they do? Where's the so I believe a lot of people has the same questions about Bangladesh. So what's the first sport there? Like in Brazil, soccer is the first sport. And here in the United States, the American football, like basketball. How is there?
Yeah. So I actually had quite a long conversation recently with Dan Abrahams on his Sports Psych show around kind of the psychological parts of the culture and sport and things like that. But um, I would say the main sport here is 55-45 cricket, and then with kind of football rapidly catching that up. Um, so I understand that. So I'm the technical director of the football academy at BKSP, which is basically we take the best footballers, the best cricketers, the best athletes, and not basically youth national team players. They live, they school, and they train here. So I sort of manage the technical aspects of all that. And I'm led to believe that a few months ago they call it an admissions, we would call it a trial process. And for the first time ever, football outnumbered cricket.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, if that's not really a whole lot of evidence, but there's a lot of street football. There's a lot of replica shirts. Like Bangladesh is famous for. You talk about culture. Bangladesh is famous for producing clothes and exporting clothing. Um, so there's football shirts everywhere. Like everyone's got football shirts all over the place, and they're quite cheap to buy and things like that. So the game is really marketable here. And funnily enough, um, the biggest game of the year, maybe not every year, but the biggest game is Argentina versus Brazil,
Yeah.
if you can believe. And I mean, staunch supporters, one or the other. It's not like watching a big match and kind of wanting one team to win just for 90 minutes. It is, with their heart and soul, they will be Argentina or Brazil. Um, yeah, so the football influence is quite a foreign one. And yeah, look, if you're going to talk about culture in Bangladesh,
Yeah.
it's a heck of a lot of poverty here. There's not a lot of access to services and
Yeah, the basic
sport.
service, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so in a way, the players, the kids, who between 12 and 19 that end up being admitted here, it's quite a big deal, just in terms of their notoriety in sport. But now they can come here, they can get looked after, they can get 3 meals a day, they can get medical care, free education. That's it's quite attractive for most Bangladeshis, and because of that, the majority of boys, a little bit like what Brazil is famous for, you have a grit or a desire to graft. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
this, the education is great, but the sports side of it might take you over the top. So it's
Okay.
quite cool from that point of view.
All right. Okay. So when you arrived there, to start your journey, like for people that, when you leave your box, like I used to tell this here for some American friends, I said, man, when you leave your box, when you leave your bubble, when you leave your place that you live your entire life and go for a completely different reality, it is not
Mm.
easy. So how was there for you when you arrived the first time?
Like there's actually even more layers to that story than you can imagine. So I arrived here for the first time. This is my second stint here. So I had a 2 year break, shall we say, before coming back last year. So I first came here during lockdown. So it was early 2021,
Okay.
I'm sure. So I had a situation where, and this is the football industry that kind of makes it difficult for people sometimes. So I was living in Ireland, working in Ireland with my family, was offered a job elsewhere in Asia with a football federation. Really good job. Um, my whole family had prepared to go. We were 7 months, 8 months waiting for visas and everything. Then boom, the job fell through. Um, and then the first lockdown came, that March 2020. Um,
Something like
so
that.
yeah, so not only, um, so it wasn't like I had a job to lose a job during COVID. It was kind of like I had a job, it fell through, and then COVID came. So even at that time, and this is where I started to get a bit more of an online presence, just to stay relevant. During that time, no one was advertising for jobs. All the football clubs were closed. The money was falling out of the game because of
Yeah.
attendances and TV and all that. So when this came up in Bangladesh, it was kind of, yeah, it was the most noteworthy job to sort of come up and be attainable at that time. So that was the pretext to then move to a different
Yeah.
environment. So there was lots of layers. I would like to think I'm pretty adaptable culturally. I wasn't always, but I think once you do it, so once I'd gone to Africa, I've been to Uganda and then Tanzania, um, South Africa, which was a lot different, I must say. I'd lived in Switzerland in my early 20s. So, second language cultures, cultures where food is different.
Yeah.
And yeah, the biggest thing is to, be safe and well. And they're really good here with that with me, to allow you just to get on with the sort of professional side of it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, coach. Yeah. So you talked about youth development, and I would have like one or two questions, the same questions. I'll ask you about youth development, and with that, for girls, like here in the United States, the women's soccer, the girls, it's a very, very strong um,
Mhm.
sport. It's a little bit different from Brazil. Brazil is starting to get a little bit better now. And how is there for, youth development and also for girls?
Here in Bangladesh,
Yeah.
so we have a boys and a girls program. The boys program is bigger. there's no doubt about that. I haven't really traced the cultural aspect too far back. Um, when I was in Tanzania is, they used to tell me, was about 50% Christian, 50% Muslim. And we always had a problem engaging girls in football because of kind of traditional domestic roles for teenage girls. But we had an even more difficult time engaging the Muslim teenage girls because of traditional
Yeah.
religious things as well. So here in Bangladesh is a mostly Muslim country. I always kind of expected a lot of barriers to come up with that. Now maybe um, maybe those barriers kind of had come down a lot since I first joined. Um, so there is a girls program here, and Bangladesh probably, I would suggest 7 or 8 years ago, I would assume there was some sort of strategic idea to invest in girls football because the senior women's national team has done really well on the subcontinent. They won the SAF games at senior level, at under 20s, and at some of the underage levels as well. They qualified for, I'm going to get the name of the competition wrong, but they qualified for the first time for the AFC um, championships really, really recently. So I think a little bit like the United States in a way is that if you invest in women's football and girls football, you kind of have the opportunity to go higher maybe than you would do if you just invest in the men's. The men's game is it's fairly stagnant. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? In terms of the higher, like the biggest nations tend to always be the biggest nations.
Yeah.
And then over time you have your Croatias and teams like that will um, kind of step up a little chunk of the ladder. Whereas in women's football, you invest in it, you organize it, you create some good competition, you put a good framework around it. You can go and make a big difference, I would suggest, especially here in South Asia or in Asia or probably anywhere, to be honest. Um, and yeah, and then you're gonna have to talk about other things like population centers and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's pretty strong here in Bangladesh, and youth development as a whole is really it's us. And it's a big problem here in general that we are the flag. I don't know what percentage you put in it, but we are 80 to 90% of every youth national team squad would be our boys and girls, which is
Wow.
great, but it just tells you, like, we're run by the government, we're really well funded, we're residential, we're all that. We should be the
Yeah.
leading part of it, but the thing is, we don't have, like, if we went to an under 15s competition, for example, a couple of months back, and sort of won that really, really comfortably. So you don't really have that kind of competition from around the
I
country and
understand.
youth leagues. Yeah, so it's a big barrier. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
So
why I'm here in a sense,
yeah.
because there are holes in the system that they need to plug in a different way.
Okay. Would you tell me that you in relation to boys and girls would be like 70 and 30%, something like this? What which number would you tell me? Like 6 to
Um,
40,
no,
70
more
to
than that.
30?
Let me see. I'm not the best mathematician in the world, so um,
Just an idea.
say, oh wow, I would say, I was going to say 80-20, but we've got
Okay.
25 girls here we've got 25 girls here on site, but that's only because we've got 22 that are with the national teams at the moment.
Wow.
Um, yeah, probably 80-20, something like
Okay,
that.
80-20. Okay, yeah, is a big difference, yeah. Okay, all
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
coach. Um, we have a big issue here in the United States that they call pay to play, right? It's a big issue here because many kids, if the parents are not available to drive them back and forth plus the monthly fee. You know, some clubs is 200, some clubs is $300 a month. You know,
Mm.
it's not easy, I believe, for many families. So I believe they lose a lot of talent, you know, especially this age group, like 7 to 10, 7 to 11. So how is there in terms of the opportunities for the kids? It's if the kid doesn't have any money, he has the opportunity to play with you or in another place, or only if you guys in your academy. How it works there?
No, we're the opposite of what you've said about the United States. We are um, like full scholarship, full ride. It only comes down to ability, character. The kind of the positive aspects that get you um, successful entry into whatever academy. Yeah, there's no pay to play. There's no. I think there is some quite nominal um, costs. I don't know that go against uniform or books or things like that, but it's very very nominal. Um, so yeah, there's never been a financial barrier to a kid coming here. There can't be because in Bangladesh, you know,
Sure.
everything's a financial barrier to quite a lot of
Yeah.
people. So and soccer players disproportionately come from working. We call it in Ireland, the UK, we call them working class backgrounds.
Working
They
class, yeah,
come
yeah.
from you know that's not exclusive, of course, but um, yeah, I think the United States stands out as one of very few countries that will do it in the way they do it.
Yeah,
But then I guess the other kids will just then go play basketball instead, right? And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh,
Yeah, yeah,
they
I
can do,
believe so.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. All right, coach. Uh, you know, as a Brazilian coach, I have to ask you your opinion. And if you guys right there in Bangladesh, if you have something in terms of futsal for kids, you know, in Brazil, it's like a religion. It's
yeah.
mandatory, all schools, you have to play futsal, all these things. How it works there? Did you have before? Do you think about maybe the future? How's futsal for you guys there?
Yeah, almost non-existent. Um, not for the want of trying. So I'm a little bit unclear. Like there's a lack of clarity sometimes here as well. In the country as a whole. Um, one of our department chiefs, they call them here, he came to me and said that they're talking about running a futsal tournament through the Football Federation. I assume they would have got a pot of money from AFC or from FIFA to tap into to futsal, which is great, absolutely great. He said, "Oh, they're talking about us bringing some teams down." I said, "That's fantastic. What do we need? That this is the start of the question. Like this isn't advanced." And I said, "Well, we do have um, a sports hall that would be fit for purpose, but for the Taekwondo Academy and the Volleyball Academy and Table Tennis Academy and all that's
Yeah,
running there. But there's zero possibility in this country of getting a ball, getting an actual, um, low bounce,
yeah,
whatever, size
futsal ball.
3.
Yeah,
Yeah. So the answer to your question is there's something has stirred with futsal, but I
yeah,
don't quite know where it's going to lead yet. If if the equivalent of futsal in Brazil is still waste ground, whatever you can roll into a ball
yeah,
to kick around, like the street football is, yeah, proper, and you get that in Brazil as well, I know, but
yeah.
waste ground, um, two teams play, you know.
Yeah. All right. Okay, coach. Um, my last question. Our time is running out. I would like to ask you if you guys
you have some kind of target for the next 3 to 5 years. If you have like medium term target for our target is like, I don't know, we wanna our players to play in the national. We wanna be able to one day send some player to Europe, or
Mm.
do you have anything like this for the next years, like some kind of target you wanna reach?
Yeah, yeah. So we work towards the AFC, the Asian Football Confederation, have a set of KPIs that they measure football academies with across the continent. So you have a 1 star, a 2 star, and a 3 star grading system. A little bit like there's a system called the EPPP in England that grades the academies and things like that. So our 10-year plan that I developed 4 years ago probably was about chipping away at the necessary sort of KPIs to upgrade in that way. Part of the reporting that we would do to the government and the sports minister and all that would be around what you just said, like targets of players getting into national teams and stuff like that. I see it a little bit differently. I see it a little bit about like we should always have a high proportion of those players, just because our we are financed and resourced
Yeah,
far better than anyone else here.
yeah,
Um, so you're sort of 3/4 of the way into the national team, sort of if you walk in the gate. Um, my interest is the quality of what we're sending up, or the bulk of the quality that we're sending up time and time again. So if we're sending 90% of players to the national team, well, the top end of those 90% need to be a better top end than they were a couple of years ago. And all of those things they're just harder to measure than numbers and percentages. And the last thing to say on that is I'm desperate to get a young player out of Bangladesh through the professional game, just because I think it blazes a trail for every other kid who wants to do the same. And it's not easy politically. The fact that they're under 18, and the fact that by 18 the good ones will play local
yeah.
Premier League football, which kind of um, you know puts them on a contract, you know, and takes a transfer out of that equation. But where there's a will, there's a way, and we'll see.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Okay, coach, understand. Thank you. So I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you,
Okay.
and learn a little bit about this part of the world. And this is soccer, right? Today you are here, maybe tomorrow a different country, and it's nice. It's everything. I think it's very nice. Many bad things happen in the world, but at least soccer is something positive for a lot of people, right? To change a lot of lives,
Yeah.
in South America, in Africa. I used to sometimes I talk to coaches from Uganda, you know, different Nigeria and India. So it's nice what soccer does, and it's really
Yeah.
good.
Well, I'm not sure there's too many other things that would have an Irishman in Bangladesh speaking to a Brazilian in the United States,
Wow, yeah,
um,
exactly.
and drop a ball into the middle of most communities.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
you,
I
um, you
lived in
get good
Bray.
out.
I lived in Bray 1 year and a
Did
half.
you? Yeah. Did you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
So
close to
I
the beach. Yeah,
yeah. So
it's
I socialized in Bray because I lived in Blackrock for a very short period of time, which is South Dublin. And I had a colleague and a friend who lived in Bray. So,
yeah,
um, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
no
nice,
doubt
good days.
we would probably know someone who knows
Yeah, Bray
both of us
Wonders.
as well, no doubt. Yeah. Played against
Yeah,
them quite a few
yeah,
times. Yeah, I know
yeah,
coaches who work at Bray to this day. I know the
yeah.
coaches there. So
All
yeah,
right.
yeah, small world.
Okay, coach. Thanks so much. Thanks again. I appreciate your thoughts, experience, your opinion. Thanks for joining me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Likewise, Igor. Thank you very much.
Bye bye.
Bye.